What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. We've got another week of golf in the works. And I mentioned the last couple weeks, I've mentioned that this is a fun time of the year for the PGA Tour schedule with lots of good tournaments and big events. And, there is going to be quite a bit here over the next few months. But apparently, I did not realize that this event was sprinkled into said calendar. So we've got an interesting one this week. We'll break it down here in a little bit. Jay Steele says he's the first in. Let's go. He's more excited than I am about this tournament. Boy, it's a weird one. Look, introductions first. I'm Justin Van Zuiden, STL Cardinals 84. I've got Derek Farnsworth, Mr. Notorious, alongside me. A, Noto, how you doing? And B, I'm gonna need an explanation of the hat.
Yeah, doing well. Still looking to find my hit my stride in the DFS streets in terms of the main lineups. Just haven't been hitting them so far this year. Been relying on a showdown in rounds 3 and 4 after all my guys missed the cut on Friday. But doing good. And the Hattie B's from Nashville, my favorite chicken place. Got to go there every time I visit.
So is that their logo? Is that their logo then?
It's usually, I don't know, I've seen a bunch of different logos. But,
I was gonna say I don't frequent, obviously, since I live in Illinois, but I'm familiar with Hattie B's, and I'd never seen the that logo before.
Yeah, they usually have the Hattie B's in cursive or just a B, but saw this one fit my head better than the other one, so rocking this one this way.
Well, very good. We did our weekly snake draft last week. Dan Kramer cashed again, so the world is still spinning. It was not a great week for Team RG in the snake draft streets. 7th for me and 8th for Noto. So not much to write home about for us. Only 3 made cuts out of the 7 for Noto, 4 for me. A couple guys that 3 guys that finished +5 or worse. So wasn't a great week, but MacMan takes home the prize, got full 6 through the cut. Jaws in 2nd, and then Dan Kramer in 3rd. Noto is going to try to convince me that we got to do a 12 person draft again tonight. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I don't know if there are even enough golfers in the field to do a 12-player snake draft tonight. At least it seems that way. But, we can break it down. Of course, a quick look back at last week. Jon Rahm just continues to roll. Really impressive what he's done over, say, the last 8 months. I mean, this is one of the better stretches of the PGA Tour. I'd say, one of the top 2 or 3 stretches that we've seen, at least since DFS golf has been going around. Dude's just rolling right now.
Yeah, dude's on fire. I think last week we said he lost to less than 20 guys in like his last 10 events, and that still holds true because he didn't lose anybody last week. Although I will say, man, he got some incredible breaks. I don't know if you saw some of the highlights, but he hit a truck on one of his drives that would have went way left. He hit it over a fence that he got a free drop from, and then he obviously hit it off the grandstands at 2 feet, which he put in for eagle. So he's everything's working right now for Jon Rahm, but it was fun watching him, celebrate with the family. And Jon Rahm in California, it's a thing. The only way to end a Jon Rahm run is the Florida swing. So none of the big guys we have to worry about this week.
So, obviously Rahm was the big takeaway, but we had another tournament where we had quite a few bigger names at the top of the leaderboard, as we talked about with a tournament like last week's. Your top 5 was Rahm, Homa, who we talked about last week, always plays well on this course. Cantlay, who you talked about, kind of being the forgotten guy there last week. Zalatoris, who we both liked, and Keith Mitchell, I wrote up last week as well. That ended up being the top 5. You also had Colin Morikawa, Jason Day once again inside the top 10. So a star-studded leaderboard once again last week. And really, no surprise given the way that course plays and difficult nature of it. The cream generally rises to the top. So another miscut on the number by Matt Fitzpatrick. Jordan Spieth, another miscut. Justin Rose, Hideki Matsuyama, Taylor Montgomery, JT Poston, all guys that missed the cut on the number. So one swing here or there could have really flipped the results last week. You saw guys like Keegan Bradley, Billy Horschel miss the cut as well. So even though it was a star-studded leaderboard, there was some carnage. As Noto mentioned, his team was done by Friday, but a few strokes here or there might have changed the way that turned out for you.
Yeah, for sure. We always see, these type of events on difficult courses. If you make the cut, you can really go on a run on the weekend. But you mentioned, we had a lot of good picks. Homa, Cantlay, Zalatoris, Mitchell, all up in the top 5. But yeah, just had too many miscuts on the roster. And hey, Tiger Woods made the cut. Really impressive. He was hitting the ball. He had a lot more swing speed than everyone was expecting, especially I don't even think he was expecting to hit as far as he did. And then obviously got in trouble for the joke there that he played on Justin Thomas. But yeah, other than that, good seeing him play 4 rounds. That was really just the hope of the week, is that he could play all the rounds that he was, able to. And kind of a little bit more, I don't know. I think he might be okay this year. Maybe we'll see him play 6 or 7 times. We'll see.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was really impressed. He was out driving Rory on some holes. Obviously, the outdriving JT on the hole that led to that controversy there. But really impressed with what we saw from Tiger last week. So kudos to him for playing a difficult course and playing well. So I do agree that it seems like when he tees it up, he could have been several shots better than he was. Missed a few putts and had a few wayward approaches that he was maybe in a good position off the tee. But it was definitely eye-opening to see him play that well. So kudos to Tiger for performing pretty well there last week. And we'll see what he does next time he decides to tee it up. That is not this week, nor is it this week for pretty much everyone else on the PGA Tour, it seems like. So, look, I make light of it, but Chris Kirk is the 3rd most expensive golfer on DraftKings. Alex Noren is 9,500. Matt Kuchar is 9,300. Matt Kuchar is 9,300, and we have him projected at 21% ownership. So that's the nature of this field. Yes, it's the start of the fall swing, or the Florida swing, not the fall swing yet. I wish, but the Florida swing. But is this field like? Am I just losing it? Do I say this every year? Is this field always this bad? I don't remember this field being this bad.
I think the last time we had a really good field here was the year that Keith Mitchell won over Ricky and Brooks. Ever since then, it just seems like it's a bad place in the schedule right after the West Coast swing, and then everybody just doesn't want to come here and get smoked by this course. A lot of people say it's the hardest course that they play regularly on the PGA Tour, and there's water everywhere. At least at TPC Sawgrass, you're going to make a lot of birdies if you're hitting good shots. But here, it's just going to be tough to save par on most of the holes. The bear trap pretty much claims everyone that attempts it, and yeah, I just think guys don't want to come out here and get embarrassed. So it sucks, but we move on, and maybe we hit one of these long shots this week.
Yeah, it does really feel like this is a week that could be pretty wide open without a lot of strength at the top of the field. Yes, you've got Lowry and you've got Sungjae there, but we haven't really seen a ton from Lowry recently. This really is wide open. I think kind of the moving of the players on the calendar has affected the field strength of this tournament too. You mentioned, the winning score. Generally, sometimes we see it in single digits under par. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of courses that we see winning scores that poor, if you want to say it that way, these days. But it's just not a course where there's going to be a ton of birdies. You got a par 70 layout as well, so not as much in terms of attackable par 5s. The par 3s are pretty difficult. It's just a tough place to play, and with a weaker field, you're probably not going to see a whole lot better scoring than what we have the past few times. So, what do you make, outside of it being difficult, of the course this week?
Yeah, I was going to pull up the wind for the week, because if the wind's blowing, it's going to be really difficult, like you mentioned. Looks like it's going to be 10 to 13 mile per hour, wind each day. So not too bad, not as bad as it could be, but still going to be difficult. You mentioned par 70, so not as many birdie chances with the 2 par 5s. The last 4 winners, 10, 12, 6, and 9 under par. There's water everywhere. As I already mentioned, I think it's in play on 15 of the 18 holes. Been in the top 7 in difficulty each of the last 5 years. And narrow fairways. They're tough to hit. You're going to see a lot of guys club down off the tee because the rough here is a lot thicker than most places. Probably going to be 2.5 to 3 inches this week is what it's sounding like. So you're going to want to hit the fairway for sure, but it doesn't really mean you should be focusing on driving accuracy, just because I think most of the longer hitters are going to be clubbing down when they need to. And I'm looking for a Florida experience, guys that putt well on Bermuda, guys that like windy conditions, guys that like tough courses. I think that's kind of the way you want to approach it this week. I don't think there's necessarily one stat that you need to focus on, maybe approach, but 1 or 2 bad approaches are going to definitely skew the results this week.
Yeah, and again, pretty wide open. Don't mind going against some of what ends up being chalk this week, simply out of principle, with the nature of the field and the unpredictability, of the course. You're going to see, somebody hits it in the water, double bogey. It just adds a little bit more variance this week. 6 out of 6. Maybe a little bit less important with the less exciting scoring conditions in play this week. So not a bad week to get a little crazy, both with some bets and maybe with some DFS picks as well, just because everyone is gonna the old FOMO of the guys that are at the top. But there's just not as much win equity concentrated in those top guys as what we see some weeks. So don't be afraid to take some chances and maybe go pivot away from that 30% owned guy that everybody's going to be on that maybe doesn't deserve to be 30% owned. So just some food for thought. And I know it looks like some of the sites are maybe a little bit slower getting up odds this week as well. I see a few that don't even have odds up yet. So interesting to say the least. Anything else generally before we dive in?
No, I like the point about, fade and chalk. More volatility, the more water there is. So, don't mind taking that approach at all. And from a betting standpoint, I think it's a good week to place some placement bets on some of the long shots. I just think, there's going to be a lot of random names up towards the top of the leaderboard on the weekend.
Yeah, we can try to maybe hunt down a few of those as we go through. And we've only got 2 golfers above 10,000 on DraftKings this week. So that's naturally going to add ownership because A, there's only 2, and B, the field gets ugly in a hurry. So we've got 38% ownership on Sung J M right now and 28% ownership on Shane Lowry, neither of whom I would be really excited to play in a vacuum given those circumstances. Sung J I know has good course history, Lowry as well, but it's not like these guys have been lighting the world on fire. And you've got mega chalk here. So I think it's really, really interesting. Because you go right underneath them, and Kirk and Horschel are projected for about half or a third of the ownership. So I guess let's make it a top 4 here of M, Lowry, Kirk, and Horschel. And what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think it's Sung Jae, and then there's a pretty big gap to the rest of the field. Sung Jae, you mentioned the form. Last week wasn't great, but he has historically struggled at Riviera for whatever reason. I was hoping he would overcome that last week, which he did not. T56 finish, but prior to that, 6th, 4th, 18th. He won here in 2020. So, and I always like him on these shorter Bermuda courses. It just seems like he loves the Florida stretch. So I do like Sung Jae quite a bit. Doesn't have a weakness in his game. After that, I'm fine with Lowry. He was in pretty bad form before last week, but gained 7.6 tee to green. So that was promising. Obviously finished in the top 5 as well. And then Kirk, he's always a guy that rates out well for me, and I never seem to get him right somehow. But he missed the cut the last time out, 3rd places, each of the last 2 before that. And then Horschel, you're just kind of hoping that he finds his form in Florida. That's really all that you can go with. We talked about the swing changes he's going through. He's missed a lot of cuts this year. So you're kind of just, hoping for the best when it comes to Billy in Florida. But I think there's Sung Jae, and then everybody else I'm not that high on.
That is going to be a theme, not being high on a lot of players this week. I agree with the in general, I think Sungjae is the class of the field. And I think maybe if you decide you want to play him, even if you're multi-entering, maybe this is a spot you just say, okay, I'm going to go all in on him and I'm not going to play the guys right below him. And you get your leverage that way. Possible. I think that's a reasonable path to take. But I don't think you necessarily have to, play any of these guys if you want to do a more balanced build. And I did find, I pulled up the odds on DraftKings where you normally see maybe a few guys under 10-1 and then quite a few guys in kind of the mid to upper teens. We only have Im and Lowry, the only two guys at 22-1 or better on DraftKings right now. Everyone else 22-1 or worse. So you've got Lee and McCarthy and Noren are all at 22-1, Kuchar, Kirk, Wise at 25-1, and Horschel's 30. So, like we've already said, a good week to maybe peek at some long shots. And there's just not a whole lot separating these guys at the top. So I like Sungjae the best, like Noto, but also if his ownership's 40%, I think you either got to go all in or just play the fade for ownership reasons. And I am not touching Horschel until we see something from him. Fine with Lowry or Kirk, though. I just maybe I'll play a little bit more Kirk at less ownership. Don't really know how I'm going to handle it yet. Probably some lineups where I think you can fade the group entirely. And then that way you don't have to go too deep into the value reaches this week either. So, all right, let's move into the next range. I mean, Noren, Minwoo Lee, Kuchar, Wise, and McCarthy, and Dietrich at 9K. We've got them all at least 14% ownership. So, again, with the salary scale being a little bit skewed this week, you're going to see heavier ownership on everybody that's above the average price just because there aren't as many options as usual. So, I never thought I'd see a Kuchar at 9,300 and at 21%, though I feel like we said that a few weeks ago also. What do you make of this group?
Yeah, overpriced and overowned Kuchar. Doesn't sound fun. But, man, he looked great last week. He gained 12.6 tee to green, which is his best mark in quite some time. We've talked about his ball striking being a lot better over the last 6 months. And if you're looking at, any course history just over the last 5 years, you're not going to see any. But he has played here quite a bit. I think the last time he played was 2011. So, it might be a little bit of a different course setup for him. I like Alex Noren quite a bit. I think if he would have made the cut last week, he would be a lot more popular. He tends to play well in Florida.
Yeah.
Tends to play well on difficult tracks. He's obviously very comfortable in the wind. All these guys that, from Europe tend to be pretty good in the wind. So I like Noren quite a bit. And then, man, Minwoo Lee, 8 straight top 15 finishes on the DP World Tour. I'm hoping a lot of people don't really know a lot about him. He's up to, top 50 in the official world golf rankings, and he's only 24 years old. So he's going to make a lot of noise. If he stays in the top 50, he's obviously going to get into all the majors. So it's going to be fun watching him. So, and then
might as well play some of them, right? If you look at the stat models, like if they're all going to be skewed against him, and, a lot of people don't know about him, but I mean, this is a weaker field than you see in some of those DP World Tour events. Maybe that's a stretch, but it's not much worse.
Yeah, I mean, Dan in the chat says it looks like your Wednesday 9-hole skins game, not an actual PGA Tour event. So, yeah, it's not great. Not great. Denny, I mean, if Denny doesn't gain strokes putting here, he's going to be in trouble. That worries me. Wise coming off of back-to-back missed cuts. Dietrich's been good, but he's never played here. I kind of like guys that have at least seen the course once. So, yeah. Any stronger takes on those guys?
Tell me who's going to hit it in the water 4 times and don't play that guy. That's my take.
Ryan Palmer will, but he's still going to make the cut. He's somehow as good at this event.
Yeah, I like Minwoo Lee simply from circumstance, and I think he, our DFS sharp, watching the show, reading the article community is going to be on him, but the casual player, I don't think as much. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially in the lower dollar contests, if his ownership is a little bit lower. So Lee, I don't mind. Kuchar, haven't decided yet. Don't really want to play him at that salary and that ownership, but again, that's a little bias there. So got to try to throw that aside. I'll probably play a little McCarthy. Like McCarthy had 3 straight missed cuts here, but does have a 3rd and a 30th the last 2 years. I mean, it's fine, but yeah, no real hot takes. I do like Minwoo Lee though. All right, let's move into the 8Ks. You do have some guys with some decent course history here. Straka is the defending champ and has some good numbers. Svensson was top 10 here last year. Also, Johnny Vegas has made the cut the last 5 years, so at least some course history to go off of with some of these guys. Cameron Davis made the cut in his 3 trips, but just not a lot of great current form from a lot of these guys as we head down into the 8Ks. So yeah, if you're doing a balanced build, like it just, you go Svensson, Vegas, Straka, Cam Davis, like it's a clan of guys who just don't have great current form. So what do we make of that group?
Yeah, unlike last week where you could just load up on the 8Ks and low 9s, it doesn't feel like that this week, which is why Sungjae just looks that much better up top. But Pendrith definitely stands out to me. Played pretty well at Pebble. And he's been very good in Florida. I believe the Players was his first event back last year, and he finished like top 15 in his next 8 events, something like that. He also had a T25 here last year. So I like Pendrith. I like Johnny Vegas. I've looked at his ball striking numbers in 4 events this year, +6, +5, +4, +3. So he's hitting the ball real well right now. He plays here every year, which is obviously a bonus. And then I don't have a strong take on anybody else. Poston's been fine here, but nothing great. Svensson just – the problem with his T9 last week is he gained 11 strokes with the short game and lost strokes ball striking. That just doesn't seem I mean, he's one of those guys that you want to see it with the irons, not necessarily the short game. So that worries me. Straka's been playing over in Europe a bunch and not playing that well. Yeah, I don't know. Do you like anybody else here?
Nope, I don't. I think Vegas is fine. Like I see he grades out well in the model. The course history is good. He's my favorite. Moronk was kind of a trendy guy last week, and he didn't play very well either. Like Davis just doesn't have the form. Pendrith, I always tend to play some, so I probably will for the ceiling. But Vegas is the guy that I'll probably have the most of in here. Now, keep in mind that like somebody from this group is going to be like a first round, second round pick in this. If we do a 12-person snake draft, somebody's going to be getting JT Poston in the first round.
All right. Question from Tibor Kovacs. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But who's the guy you would recommend fading above 9K other than Kirk?
I mean, it's Horschel for me just because the form just hasn't been there. And I'm not a Horschel guy anyway. He's the easy X out for me right now. Like you're literally only banking on the fact that maybe he can find something in Florida, like you mentioned, but I don't think I want to do that right now.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with that too.
You didn't sound that wasn't very much conviction behind that.
I was going to say Denny, but yeah, he's been good here the last 2 years, and he's at least somewhat decent form. So yeah, Horschel's probably the easy guy.
All right. Anything else above 8,000 that you want to touch on, or else you can go down to the next tier there?
I don't mind Bezuidenhout. So the recent ball strike has been terrible, but historically he's been much better on par 70s, much better on shorter courses, and much better on Bermuda courses. So I'll go back to Seabez. And I think, he was T25 here last year. So he's the only other guy above 8K for me.
All right. Let's see. We can go down to about this mid 7K range, and then we can get our snake draft fired up here. So the ownership we've got, Ben Griffin, who's played fairly well over the fall, but, again, maybe faded a bit of late. Robbie Shelton tends to be pretty hit or miss. Lee Hodges has been in bad form, but he did have a good finish here. His last trip. Benny On's been playing fairly well again, so that's good to see. Bramblett's a guy I like a lot. We talked about a few weeks ago. Like, I don't think these guys are all that much worse than the 8Ks that we just talked about. So maybe find some value down here to round out your lineups. Like Will Gordon, we've seen pop at times. I don't mind playing a couple guys from here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Not a week goes by that we don't talk about Jaeger. So, Mr. Gerg in the chat, definitely a Jaeger week. I actually agree this time around. The two things he does well are, around the green and he can get high with the irons. So I don't mind Jaeger. You mentioned Sheldon. I like that. Ben Griffin's always going to rate out well because his sample size is so small and the stats have been so good. But it's hard to argue with him. He's been playing some great golf all year. Don't mind going to Aaron Rye. Benny On was a name that kind of stuck out to me. So he's 4 for 4 in cuts made this year. Obviously got the promotion from the Corn Ferry Tour, and then he's 3 or 4 here with 2 top 5s. So I think Benny On is interesting. I like Will Gordon a lot. He's missed the cut the last 2 times. He also withdrew, but very good off the tee, and just a guy that can make a lot of birdies. So upside at a pretty cheap price point.
All right, I like those calls. Now let's see what we got. Are we really going to do 12? Do we have enough interest to do 12
So
in the snake
I was
draft?
looking at the lobby. I think there was one with 2 people in it already. So we can get 10 more, I think.
Holy smoke. I know we can get 10. It's just a matter of who are we going to be taking? Who are we going to be picking?
Well, let's see. Is that's what 84 golfers picked. So
that's 84 golfers. Do you know who's 84th in the pre-rankings?
Yeah, let me
David
see.
Lingmerth.
I got Kyle Westmoreland.
Jason Duffner is in here.
I mean, everyone wants in, you know.
Patrick Cootie. I mean, look at these teams are going to be Aaron Baddeley, Luke Donald.
Yeah, if you get three through the cut, you're cashing.
Look at these guys. Jaeger's going to be a 2nd-round pick.
Everyone wants in, Justin.
It's a huge advantage to the person picking first this week. I'll tell you that.
It really
is.
Yeah.
This will be the one week where I don't get a pick near the top. I've had that a few times. Like the
all right, it's already up to 7 people. We better get in.
7 out of 12.
It's gonna fill. It's gonna fill without us.
I'm in already.
Oh, okay. You were
I'm sitting
on
here
the
complaining
fence
about it, but I did enter while I was complaining about it.
Okay.
8 out of 12. All right, join that $5 snake draft, please, so that you can share in our pain as we go through the rest of the golfers. But I'll sprinkle in quite a few guys in that tier that you just mentioned. Buckley, Hodges, Benny On, Bramlett, Gordon. Throw some of those guys in the mix. But
my favorite 7K guy, Danny Willett.
Danny Willett. All right, he is he's right there with Ryan Palmer at 7,400. So
I don't mind Palmer, but he has the worst track record of anyone on the Bear Trap, and they show that graphic every time.
Every year,
Bear Trap, and
he still finds a way to make the cut most of the time.
Makes no sense. But I like
70th last year, but he made the cut.
Plays well in the wind, coming off the top 20. The ball striking was pretty good last week. SH Kim is interesting. Oh, and Davis Riley. We're back in Florida. We got to get back on Davis Riley.
Yeah, shoot 8 months ago, he'd have been 10K.
Right. We're full.
All right. Jaws, who cashed last week, has the first pick. Noto is picking 4th.
Okay. I'll get Kirk over Kuchar. Who are you going to get?
So I get 7th.
God, you get Horschel. You can get Horschel. He'll be there.
I'm not taking Horschel. Horschel's getting X'd out.
Jay Still. Willett with the shoulder injury. That's good to know.
The algorithm is testing just how good Dan Kramer is at these things by making him pick last. And I think that's funny. But he'll still find a way to cash. All right, I'm going to have to switch the screen share to me. One moment, please. Chrome tab. Snake, boy, this thing does not like when I try to share my screen in the middle of a broadcast. It always freezes on me, and I don't know if it's there. It goes there.
Oh, unrelated note: did you see why Brendan Still withdrew last week?
I did not.
Live boy.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yep.
They don't have enough players? Are they expanding their fields? What are they doing?
I think he joined Phil's team. Got rid of Matthew Wolf and brought in Brendan Still.
So now Matthew Wolf does what?
Well, he wanted time off to spend with his dog or whatever, so he got.
But I mean, he still gets to whatever his guaranteed contract was.
I mean, we think. Who knows what these contracts say?
Interesting. Lowry went first over Sungjae.
Yeah, Jay Still. My cousin left for Liv, he says. Brendan.
All right. Boy, this is going to get interesting in a real hurry.
Oh, who went there?
Aaron Wise goes Third. Now you got your pick.
I was just gonna have. I didn't want to pick. I just wanted.
You just wanted the one guy that was left. Now you got to pick. Now you have to pick.
I'll go Kirk.
I think that was the play. Chris Kirk, 4th pick. Alex Noren, 5th pick.
And Cooch is dropping.
If Kuchar makes it to me, man, I'll just dance in the streets here. But he's probably not. So I would imagine
you can get Minwoo. Oh, Kuchar's still there. Man.
I gotta take Kuchar.
Wow.
Taking Kuchar 7th, that'll be just fine. So Noto was going to be happy taking Kuchar 4th.
Yeah.
So.
Steal of the draft right there.
Can't believe taking Matt Kuchar 7th overall in a snake draft is being called a steal in the year 2023. But that's all right. It is what it is. All right. Well, we wait for this to maneuver back around to us. Like the 6Ks have been a wasteland for weeks. And that's not really going to change a whole lot this week. Like, is there anybody you like as a remote punt? Like we talked about possibly going off the board this week. So who are we going off the board with?
So I actually had to bump down my model for Eric Barnes because he was rating out so well. And even after I bumped him down, still the number 1 point per dollar guy on my model right now. Stats look good. I don't really know what his strengths are. It looks like he's a good putter, good around the green, decent ball striker. So, yeah, he's at 6,700. I have him like 24th overall, which seems way too high. But, yeah, so Eric Barnes at 67. And then I like Michael Kim at 6,900. How long has it been since we said his name?
He won the John Deere a few years ago and then missed like 13 straight cuts afterwards.
It was epic, but coming off of a T11, the stats look pretty good. His numbers on the Corn Ferry, or his results on the Corn Ferry last year were pretty good too. So those are the 2 I can give you. Other than that, you're on your own.
What about Akshay?
I don't know what he's been up to. Let me see.
I don't know what a lot of these guys. I don't know who a lot of these guys are underneath him. So he played the RSM.
He's had 2 top 10s in his last 4, probably both on the Corn Ferry, but pretty good.
Sprinkle him in. Maybe I'll draft him. Maybe I'll draft him in the 2nd round. Okay, it's my turn again. Let's go.
Dan. Yeah, you go, and then we'll talk about Dan's picks.
I pass. Let's go with Hodges.
All right, so Dan went Vegas, who I love, and Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel there seems like some good value.
That's not bad at the 12th pick for sure. Patrick Rogers has apparently withdrawn. That came down this morning. I missed that. So.
Do I go Moronk? Oh, I was going to go Poston. All right, I'll go Moronk.
Yeah, so Rogers is out. I think I saw a few more. Lanto's out. Somebody's going to get stuck with these guys on auto draft. That's pretty much it for.
Did you catch Full Swing on Netflix yet?
I did not. Tax time limits my ability to watch pretty much anything outside of Sundays. So
it's pretty good. When you have time, you should watch.
Oh, yeah. I have a whole list of stuff by that time. So it's all right. We're making our way. It's February 20th. April 15th will be here.
In the show that had Brooks Koepka and Ian Poulter leaving for Liv, somehow Morikawa was like the least relatable person.
Interesting. Wouldn't have expected that for sure.
At least for me. I don't know.
All right, so we're rolling into round 3 now as Benyon, who didn't have a tour card at this time last year, goes off the board, and it's making its way back to Noto at the aforementioned Jaeger, Higo, Nick Hardy range. We'll see how much Noto really likes Danny Willett.
I was just going to say, Gasman better not take him. All right, he's there.
Danny Willett.
Got the winner. I think I'm betting Willett this week.
Ryan Palmer. Look at this. Look at these guys.
These are some big names. Let's go. Webb Simpson. I didn't know he was in the field.
Boy, that's really mighty have really fallen.
He must not rate out well for me.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot on Davis Riley. I think the upside is there.
Hey, Webb made the cut his last time out. Phoenix.
Are you laying your stamp of approval on it then?
No. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, his putting's been so bad. Over the last 12 months in this field, 137th. How is that possible?
I mean, he was terrible at the beginning of his career, middle of his career, whatever. He was terrible. And then he all of a sudden became really good. Now he's terrible again.
Oh, baby. Dan Kramer loves Willett. All in.
Maybe Webb has the yips.
Yeah. I don't know. It's bad, though.
We'll see if anybody times out on a pick, or I don't think we have anybody on auto draft. I think everybody is participating. We'll see if anybody gets tired of it and gets stuck with Patrick Rogers. Probably be me because it'll probably happen while I'm talking. All right, Dan's on the clock now. He's going with Adam Schenk.
Okay.
Adam Schenk was a top 25 or nothing guy there for a while after being the guy that always got 60th. Kevin Tway. It's a name we haven't talked about too much in a while. Callum Tarrant shot about plus 60 last week. I think I'm off of him for a while.
So Shank's made 4 cuts in a row. Tway's always just so good off the tee. I mean, you just hope
he just can't putt.
Hope he can do something else. So Tway's missed 4 straight cuts here, but much better form now than the last few years. All right.
I literally don't like anyone else. So we're going to start looking at form in the player cards here.
I was just going to bring up Brandon Wu for you. I don't mind EVR. Difficult course, some wind. But you can save him for me if you want.
Sure. Because I'll go with Justin Suh. Go with the namesake. Why not? Fellow Justins unite.
Mount Naughty. This feels like a Mount Naughty course. He's been 2 of 4.
Got a 4th at Pebble. Yeah. That's not a bad pick here.
Top 23 of his last 4.
You've talked yourself into Malnati, I believe. Oh, nope. Took Van Rooyen instead. The old pivot.
I was looking for the next round.
We still have to take 3 more players.
We get to take 3 more players.
Oh, yes. Yes. I complain about this every week. I should just – everyone's picking from the same pool. I should just shut up and pick. But let's see. So if we
once you get a taste of that cash, that $9 third place, you'll be
I haven't cashed yet. Maybe that's why I'm so salty about it.
Bermuda Ben Martin, not a bad pick. Oh, Zach Johnson, another former John Deere winner.
I sense a theme. Malnati's played well at the Deere in the past also.
Yeah, maybe there's a crossover.
Similar weak field events, I think, is the only crossover there is here.
Fratelli rates out pretty well for me.
Also has played well at the John Deere in the past. There's got to be something to this.
Yeah.
Fratelli form is 13 miscut, 37 miscut, 14 miscut. So he's got another top 20 coming this week.
Yeah, if you can get a top 20 this far down. Ooh, Padraig Harrington. That's an interesting one.
He's like the next man on the there you go. Pick him then. Pick him.
Low blow.
Take him.
I don't know what I did, Dan. I apologize. Okay.
It's your turn, by the way. You're getting Patrick Rogers in 10 seconds.
Ooh, do I do Harrington? He's been playing well. Champions Tour.
And I need a pick here in about 5 seconds. I am next. There goes Mark Hubbard.
Let's see, this isn't the Luke Donald course, right? That's in this break?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like my squad. Oh, Michael Kim. You got to get Michael Kim down there.
Why would I take – he's 4 for 11. No. 2 events is not going to be enough. I've got to go with my boy, Akshay. because I really don't think there's a whole lot separating pretty much everybody that's left. I just don't. Take who you want. I had a thought and I lost it.
Maybe that's our problem. This is where the money's made, down at the bottom of the board. Oh, Matt Wallace. I know he's played well here in the past. Let's see what he's done. 2 for 3, 2 top 30s.
Pearson Cootie.
All right, he's my next.
Oh, was that you? Did you take him?
Who?
Oh, you took Malnati. You haven't picked him.
Oh, Cootie's playing this week? We were just talking about him last week. How he needs to get more starts. Here he goes. That was a good pick, then.
All right. So we got Dan on the clock here for rounds 5 and 6. See, I'm not gonna have any clue who I want to take here coming up. Just gotta sit here and scroll through the names that really aren't gonna stand out one over the other. Let's see. Dan's got Chesson Hadley, so add him to your betting board.
Okay, so the low blow was the $9 for third place reference, because that's what Dan got last week. Hey, $9 is more than zero. I'll tell you that much.
What happened to Matt Wallace?
Coming off of a T29. Not sure where it was, but Duncan, that guy's got top 10 upside when he's on. He does. He's a good ball striker. I can't believe Sam Ryder's not here. He almost won. Was it last year or the year before at this event?
This seems like a Seamus Power type of event. Surprised he's not here. He'd win this thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm almost up.
Yep, I'm next.
Wait, did somebody take Barnes? Oh, darn it.
See, now you're going to, out of spite, a round later, I'm going to take Michael Kim. He's still here.
That's a good pick. Okay.
Here you go.
The 2 guys I wanted for my leftovers are gone. Okay.
Who?
Well, I wanted Kim and Eric.
Oh, they're gone. I thought you meant they were still there. I see. Here goes Dylan Wu. Kudos to everybody for sticking through the draft, by the way, and not like nobody gets Rogers. That's it's pretty remarkable for a 12-person draft. So big ups to everybody.
All right, Matt Wallace. Dude, Doc Redman. Remember when he was real good?
Yeah, I do. I do remember when he was real good. He was always very inconsistent, but
And Glebioto, and he was good for like 8 weeks.
That really upset me because I didn't play him, and now that feels like I didn't play him during that whole stretch, and I feel like it was the right move because he suddenly just, I mean, all of a sudden he's just terrible now. But
do you know when I played him?
You played him the week he withdrew because of the family emergency when he was playing well.
Yep.
I didn't play him that week either, so I guess that was where it all came to roost.
Sean O'Hara, I know he's played well in Florida before. Let's see. In the last 5 years of this event. Henrik Norlander, he was the guy that was chipping in every 3 holes a couple years ago.
He was good for a while too. All right, I'm gonna get back on. There goes Harrington. So Harrington lasted a while from when he was where he was pre-ranked in there.
Somebody in the chat said we had him at 9% ownership, which would be wild.
Harrington?
Yeah.
You're up.
All right. Let's go Matty Schmidt.
Yeah, I looked at him a little bit ago.
One problem with him is every site, half of them have it as Matty, half of them have it as Matthias. Always messes with the model.
There goes Lebiota. Who the heck do I want? Well, we're going to go with Schwab because I'm afraid of getting Rogers if I dally too long. Boy, the next time we have a strong field, it's gonna seem like we've just got all sorts of options because some of the guys that we're complaining about taking in the later rounds are like first round picks this week. So
yeah, what do we got next?
Something better than this.
No. Oh, okay. API. I saw the Puerto Rico Open. I was like, oh no, but it's a alternate for the API next week.
Tyson Alexander, really interested to see who the last pick is from Dan here in this final round. Two picks left. So all right, Dan.
Did we confirm it's you get the top 6 of the 7, or does your bench not count? I can never remember.
The bench doesn't count, but it automatically scores the top 6.
Okay.
Stay. Dan picked Norlander goes last. So Noto has got Kirk, Moronk, Willett, Van Rooyen, Malnati, Wallace, and Schmid, and also a quote that I feel pretty good about my team, which is funny.
On the record.
Kuchar, Hodges, Riley, Suh, Bhatia, Kim, and Schwab for me. Who knows? We'll see how it goes this week. And mercifully, the snake draft has come to an end. And I don't know, we're at like 50 minutes on the worst field that we've seen since the fall swing. So I'm ready to call it a show. Anything else you want to pass along before we get out of here?
Yeah, you're going to learn to love this snake draft. We're going to
gotta get a taste of the cash. Like you said.
Yeah. That $9 will change your life.
All right. We will call it a show at that. Thanks to Steve for producing behind the scenes for us tonight. I know it's a slow sports night on the calendar with NBA not in action. So hopefully y'all can enjoy some golf this week. Hoops will be back Thursday, I believe. But enjoy the breather until then. Thanks to Noto for joining me as well. I'm Justin. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll catch you all next week. Same time, same place. See you later, everyone.